Welcome to an overview of self-determination theory, a framework that explains motivation from within. This slide highlights three core psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness, arranged as a triangle, and hints at measurable outcomes on the chart to the right. In short, when those needs are supported, people feel more driven, healthy, and engaged across life domains. Here we trace the origins and evolution of the theory, starting with foundational work in the 1980s by Desai and Ryan, and expanding through cognitive evaluation research. The slide's timeline and integration diagram show how ideas from humanistic and organismic perspectives merged, leading to cross-cultural validation in education, work, sports, and health, which helped establish the three basic psychological needs internationally. This page focuses on autonomy as the urge to self-regulate and endorse one's actions. The visuals contrast autonomy with independence and show how an autonomy-supportive context fuels intrinsic motivation, volition, and well-being. The Venn-style graphic reminds us that cultural nuances matter. Collective values can support autonomy when personal endorsement aligns with group norms, creating congruence rather than isolation. Competence and relatedness are presented as foundations for growth that feed satisfaction. The diagram links competence, mastering optimal challenges, and relatedness, feeling cared for, to outcomes like engagement, resilience, and collaborative growth. These effects play out across classrooms, workplaces, and communities, showing how basic needs translate into practical benefits for learning, teamwork, and long-term development. Intrinsic motivation is described here as action for its own sake, driven by interest and enjoyment. The slide emphasizes supporting factors like autonomy, competence feedback, and relatedness, and shows key outcomes such as creativity, persistence, and psychological health. It also warns that intrinsic motivation is fragile and can be undermined by controlling rewards or evaluations, which often reduce engagement. The motivation continuum illustrated on this slide explains how controlled motives can be internalized and integrated into self-endorsed motives through autonomy support. The flow moves from external regulation and introjection to identification and full integration, with autonomy support facilitating authentic self-regulation, greater ownership, and sustained, effective performance aligned with deeply held values. This slide offers concrete strategies for fostering self-determination, including offering meaningful choices, providing clear rationales, acknowledging feelings, using informational language, and minimizing controlling pressures. The right side links these practices to outcomes like ownership, curiosity, and high-quality engagement, and shows application settings, learning, work, and health, where these strategies help people persist and flourish. Here we unpack controlling behaviors and their hidden costs. External monitoring with strict deadlines, conditional regard tied to approval, guilt induction, and rigid directives. The funnel diagram shows how pressure to comply produces short-term obedience, but leads to anxiety, amotivation, surface learning, burnout, and even ethical disengagement. The strategic insight is clear. Compliance may be quick, but commitment is what sustains performance and well-being. Autonomy-supportive teaching is presented as a strong predictor of deeper learning and improved well-being. The slide connects evidence of higher achievement and student well-being with teacher practices like nurturing student voice, setting mastery goals, and giving constructive feedback. Over time, these approaches foster career adaptability and lifelong learning, highlighting the long-term value of supportive instruction. This slide summarizes SDT findings on motivation outcomes and the impact of need support. Autonomous motivation consistently boosts job satisfaction, performance, innovation, treatment adherence, exercise persistence, and sustainable lifestyle change, while controlled motives tend to correlate with stress and turnover. The visual contrast of upward and downward trends makes the difference between need support and control easy to see. Exploring SDT in collectivist and digital frontiers. This slide shows how autonomy can be supported within interdependent cultures and group contexts. On the digital side, virtual needs support through remote mentorship, gamification elements like points and leaderboards, and personalized AI feedback can enhance competence and autonomy. The takeaway is to design culturally sensitive, adaptive systems that sustain motivation across environments. The final slide outlines strategic application for integrating self-determination theory at scale, recommending policy changes, leadership training to cultivate competence and relatedness, and app design that gives users meaningful choices and feedback loops. It also emphasizes measuring need satisfaction as a key performance metric, tracking it over time, and investing in interdisciplinary, long-term interventions to achieve holistic flourishing and sustainable motivation.